Good afternoon, it's Jane with Scraptastic Yarns. Well, I'm a little late with today's normal podcast because of yesterday. My husband's university does these abbreviated schedules, and when they do the abbreviated schedules, like today is Tuesday, they do a Monday schedule, which makes no sense whatsoever, because most of the days that they have off are on Monday, which throws all the classes off. And they always deviate to the Monday schedule, which means he didn't have to go in till 2:30. So he has finally left. It's 2:21 p.m. And good riddance. Can't film when he's hanging around watching the hearings. It'll all soon be over, right? Although I have a great story for the very end that I'm looking to book just because of the season that we're in. And I'll get to that later. Okay, I promised you the story about the vacuum cleaner with the church. For those of you who have not seen that video, this weekend, the deacons at the church, and I am a deacon, we had a garage sale or yard sale. It was to raise money for a vacuum cleaner for the church because the vacuum cleaner that we currently have does not work. So we have to someone has to bring their own vacuum cleaner from home over to the church to vacuum the church and yada yada yada, okay? So what had happened was, at one point in time, probably about 6 months ago, there was a leak in the church. And there was water on the floor. And one of the elders of the church, I'm not naming names, no siree, because I still have to go to church with these people. But one of the elders said, well, go get the vacuum cleaner and vacuum up the water. The vacuum cleaner the church has is not a shop vac. You can only do that with a shop vac. For a regular vacuum cleaner to clean your floors, electrical cleaner, you cannot vacuum up water with it because it ruins the vacuum cleaner. That being said, my personal opinion was that that person should replace the vacuum cleaner because they are the one that suggested it. That and the person who actually followed that advice. They should split the cost, do whatever they needed to do to raise money to replace the vacuum cleaner. But I'm not the one that gets to make that decision. So, the deacons, we knew it was a need, so we had this garage sale. Garage sale was very successful. I think we will be able to find a very nice vacuum cleaner with what we raised so far. That's all I'm saying on that. Now, I injured myself Saturday evening coming home. I lifted something with my left arm that was entirely too heavy for me to lift. It wasn't at the yard sale, it was at home. And as a result, I tore a muscle in here in my arm. Having said that, the muscle hurts enough so that when I lift my arm this way, it hurts all the way down to the wrist. It hurts to pull covers over it. It hurts to let it dangle. But to raise up, it's a little annoying, but it doesn't hurt real bad. But it's apparently a pulled muscle. I saw someone this afternoon about it, and it apparently is a pulled mussel that will heal probably in a couple of weeks. You know, they tell you to ice it, some anti-inflammatory medications, you know, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm doing, but it interferes with some of my crochet, and I'll tell you why. You know, when I injured this tendon, had the tennis elbow, I had to learn to crochet with my left hand. So now I do one row this way, and then I crochet with my left hand back. I can't do that because it irritates it. So there we go. You know, life is a bowl of cherries at sometimes. Okay, but I do have one finished item, and that is a Just Feel Festive shawl. This is the pattern by Kalisha, and I will tell you, when you're at about this stage right here, you really think that you're not doing it right. It isn't until it gets about to here that you realize you are doing it correctly. Because all I saw was this trapezoid that was being made. It wasn't becoming a shawl. But yes, it is indeed a shawl. And I am absolutely impressed with the way that it did come out. Now, I have not weaved in my ends. I will be doing that later on this evening. But for all intents and purposes, it is finished. See that grimace? And I used 2 skeins of the Super Saver Ombre. And these are the 10-ounce skeins in the color Green Apple. Green is one of my favorite colors. I really was going to make something for me, but it'll go to prayer shawl. So it hasn't been blocked. I did use a J hook, which is why it is wider than normal. But you know how I feel. Plus, people need things too. So that is finished, and once I get things woven in, I will actually take a picture and post it on the holiday along, as well as the Scraptastic Yarns group. I had this much yarn left, which when I measured it out was just over a yard. So, pretty impressed with that. As for the Stitch-A-Row with Jenny Rupert's crochet, I have done through the 11 rows that are up there. This is an Afghan that I am working on, and the next color to go in will be this cafe color. Yes, I know it's cafe. That's how well I know those colors of Red Heart. That is all I have worked on so far. I have been cutting bags to sew, and that has kind of gotten put on the wayside since this shoulder injury. And yeah, that's basically it for anything else that I've worked on so far. We do have some WIT and tarnation, and I will go into that a little bit. And then after that, I've had some questions about the keto that I'm following. Yes, I have lost 8 pounds so far, so now I am under 300 pounds. Okay, by 1 pound, but I'm still under. But I will discuss that after the WIT and tarnation. So that way, those of you that want to stay for the WIT and tarnation can hear it, but don't care about the keto, can move on. Oops, sorry about that. I'm kicking the table. The joys of being short. And of course, here we go with what intonation? Pompeii artifacts returned by tourists who claimed curse. A contrite Canadian woman who took pieces from the ancient Italian city of Pompeii 15 years ago returned the fragments with a letter explaining how they brought a curse to her life. The woman who signed the letter with the name Nicole said she visited the archaeological park of Pompeii when she was young and dumb about 15 years ago. Well, some of us can claim that young and dumb forever. She said she took items from the site where hot rock, volcanic ash, and noxious gas had buried the ancient city and its residents when Mount Vesuvius erupted in the year 79. And I can tell you this, that contributed to a lot of people with their saying of climate change. Climate change isn't real science, but that's beside the point. Nicole's letter, which accompanied a package containing 2 mosaic tiles, parts of an amphora, and a piece of ceramics, said she had experienced a string of bad luck since the theft. That included 2 bouts with breast cancer. Please take them back. They bring bad luck, she wrote. The woman said the package contained everything she took from Pompeii, except for a tile she had given away to a friend. We are good people, and I don't want to pass this curse on to my family, my children, or myself anymore, she wrote. Please forgive my careless act that I did years ago. The package was sent to a travel agent in Pompeii with a request that the items be returned to the park. A spokeswoman for the archaeological park said there have been about 100 previous incidents of tourists sending Pompeii artifacts back to the city along with apologetic notes claiming the objects were cursed. The park has established a museum to display the returned items and the letters from the apologetic tourist. It's the same thing if you take sand from Hawaii. You better ask the elders first. Yep. Okay. And Lord knows people need to be forgiven for their acts of stupidity. We all have them. Couple finds wooden boat launched by class 27 years earlier. A couple who found the small wooden boat on a Wisconsin beach discovered the tiny vessel had been placed in the water 27 years earlier by a second-grade class. Lynn and Mike Bebeau said they visited a remote beach in Lake Superior's Apostle Islands and noticed something brightly colored buried in the sand about 20 feet from the shore. I thought it might have been a net buoy or a net float that had broken loose from a commercial fisherman's boat or something, but when I dug it out and then kind of washed it off, I was really surprised and I thought this is really cool, Mike Bebeau told KBJR-TV. The object, a small wooden boat, had a message printed on the bottom. I am traveling to the ocean. Please put me back in the water. The boat also bore the address of Lakewood Elementary School in Duluth, Minnesota. The couple contacted the school and learned the boat had been placed in the water by Bonnie Fritsch and Brenda Schell's second-grade class in 1993. Brenda had a friend that made the boats, and they had their classes paint them. And at the end of the year, they would take a trip around Duluth to go to Inger Tower and all that, and we would go to Brighton Beach to let the boats go, with our class, Fritz said. Fritz said that she had been contacted one other time in the past by someone who found the boat a few years earlier. It was somewhere up in the North Shore like Beaver Bay, and the people who found it put another coating on it to help preserve it and set it back in the water, Fritz said. The babos said they placed the boat back in the water to continue its journey. We like to just find remote places and just see what we discover. And this was by far the coolest discovery. By far, Lynn Bibbo said. And there's video where you can actually see the boat. It's a really cute boat. Now, I don't know what it is about this year and emus, but there's an awful lot of them that are loose. Okay? Loose emu leads authorities on chase through Florida neighborhoods. Police, animal control, and state wildlife officers were summoned to a Florida neighborhood in which an emu was reported running loose and chasing locals on the street. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office said the emu escaped on the west side of the city Thursday and led deputies, animal control officers, and Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officers on a chase through several neighborhoods. Witnesses said the emu was chasing pedestrians before authorities arrived. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission spokeswoman Karen Parker said the emu was captured when it wandered to a local business, Nichols Truck Bodies, and basically entered a dead end. It got into the fenced-in area and got pinned up, she told Florida Times Union. They kind of walked this guy into the trailer, and apparently he didn't put up much resistance. Parker said the large bird's owner was out of town, and it had been left in the care of a friend when it escaped. There is a link to the news story, and you're going to learn a lot about emus. And the fact that emus have sitters. It's a good story. The facts are amazing. I didn't know a lot of that about emus. Reporter confronts aggressive raccoon outside the White House. Now, I don't know if CNN has replayed this, but a lot of news stations have replayed this video, and it's quite funny. A CNN reporter's on-camera confrontation is going viral after he was recorded chasing off an aggressive raccoon outside the White House. Joe Johns was preparing to deliver a report outside the White House when he was caught on video turning around to yell at an approaching raccoon. Johns is seen throwing what appears to be a bag at the animal. Freaking raccoons, man. God, again. This is the second time. Jesus. It always comes right around when I'm about to go on TV. Get, John says in the footage. It's rather funny. The instance was not the first confrontation between the media and raccoons at the White House. CBS News White House correspondent Paula Reed tweeted September the 28th that a raccoon had attacked multiple news crews. Perhaps he's just hungry. But the video that's linked down below shows some of the tweets and memes that have been made out of those raccoons, so they're rather funny. Now, I posted this story, I think, yesterday on my Facebook. But seeing the video is actually very interesting. Facebook flags Onion Seed ad as overtly sexual. Officials with a Canadian business said they were left surprised, confused, and somewhat amused when Facebook refused to run an ad because a photo of onions was flagged as overtly sexual image. Jackson McLean, a manager at Gay's Seed Company in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, said the company submitted an ad to Facebook to promote its Walla Walla onions, but the submitted image was rejected by the social media network because the photo, which depicted only a group of onions, was deemed to be overtly sexual. We got notified the other day that it's an overtly sexual image that they had to ban from the site, McLean told CBC News. I guess something about two round shapes there could be misconstrued as boobs or something, nude in some way. McLean said he had to laugh at what was apparently an error by Facebook's anti-nudity algorithm. Seriously. And you know why I say that? Because I have received friend requests from males, and when I go to check out to see about those, whether they crochet or sew, or something, I've seen some very sexual images, which apparently that algorithm doesn't pick up. So, I find that rather interesting. I just thought it was funny, he said. You have to have a pretty active imagination to look at that and get something sexual out of it. Overtly sexual, as in there's no way of mistaking it as not sexual. The company appealed the decision, and a Facebook Canada spokeswoman confirmed the ad's rejection was an algorithm error. We use automated technology to keep nudity off our apps not very well. But sometimes it doesn't know a Walla Walla onion from a, the spokeswoman, Meg Sinclair, told the National Post. We restored the ad and are very sorry for the business's trouble. Now, the link to the video down below, it goes directly to the middle where the story about the Walla Walla onions comes in. The entire video is like an hour long, and it's all kinds of different stories. But it starts at 36 minutes, so that's where the link should take you directly to, is 36 minutes, where that little blurb about the video with the spokesperson from the company is talking about it. This last story, I wish we could book now until after the election, but since we can't, still a great offer. Website offers chance to live under a rock during election week. As accommodation booking website, an accommodation booking website is offering weary voters an escape from election stress disorder with the opportunity to live under a rock for a week of the election. Hotels.com said the November 2nd to 7th stay in a man-made cave 50 feet below ground in New Mexico will be available to book on its website on a first-come, first-served basis, 9 a.m. Friday. It's too late, so it's already been booked. The website said the opportunity is perfect for those who are experiencing election stress disorder. This is a real thing. The 5-night stay cost an Abraham Lincoln-inspired $5 per night. After you cast your ballot, you can check out of the news feed negativity and check in to a man-made cave built 50 feet below ground, the website said. Hotels.com said it will also be offering a 20% discount on selected properties with rock in the name using the coupon code under a rock starting Friday morning, so you can still get in on that deal. Political fatigue is real regardless of the year or election, said Josh Belkin, Vice President of Hotels.com. We're transforming an age-old idiom into a bookable experience so individuals can relax, recharge, and recover, because who knows what else 2020 has in store for us. And that link is directly to hotels.com /page/under a rock. And there you can actually see the cave and all the furnishings. I've seen this cave in person before I left New Mexico, because the people that had it were actually wanting to live in the space. It's kind of like those people that buy the empty missile silos to build them into homes, or underground bunkers. But it's a beautiful area where they've done this, and it's very nice. It is very nice what they've done with it. So that is it for the What in Tarnation. Those of you who are not interested in the keto, bye. See you again next week. And remember, choose kindness. Now, the questions that I have had about the keto that I'm following is because if you start looking into keto, you can find a gazillion ways to do keto. There is one that they use called the paleo diet. It is probably the most lenient of the keto diets because it includes fruits, some certain dairy products after you've gone through that initial portion of the diet. But I follow the keto diet that is put out by Dr. Eric Westman of Duke University. He is an obesity specialist. He is a physician. He is world renowned for his specialty in dealing with obesity. When I found this, what I found is the video called the White Coat Video. And I had heard a little bit about keto, and I thought, okay, what is this? Because one thing that Dr. Westman talks about is when you're on diabetic medications, taking you off those medications as you progress through this diet. Now, you need to actually, if you are going to have him manage your medications and those kind of things, you actually need to book a visit with him or one of the keto physicians that are listed under dietdoctor.com. However, I talked with my physician about this when I first started, and this was after I had lost 40 pounds doing it. And she had asked me what I was doing, and I told her I was doing the keto diet. And she went off. She just did not want me to be on that whatsoever. She told me to get off of it. It would kill my kidneys. It would do this. It would do this. Well, come to find out, I stopped it. This is after I'd lost 40 pounds. Then I promptly gained 77 pounds from that time to when I restarted the keto diet. And at that time she ordered, I was on one oral medication and one insulin. I was on Byetta. And it was working real well, but as anyone knows, when you're on Byetta, eventually it quits working. So then you have to substitute a new insulin for that. And she also wanted me to go on the diabetic diet that the ADA suggests, which is a total of 45 carbs every meal that you can have. And that's way too much. I am not that type of person. I don't really care for a lot of vegetables. Never have. But, I tolerate them. Because in my world, if I were to eat vegetables, it would be okra. It would be spinach. Occasionally broccoli. I'm not a real big fan of salads, although I do eat them. And mushrooms. And that would be my choice of vegetables for the rest of my life, with occasional asparagus, because I love asparagus as well. But it's very rich, so I don't like it as often. So, 97 pounds later, I am on a total of 2 oral medications and 2 different insulins. We were again talking about the diet. I had to lose weight, because here's what's happened. One of the medications she had me on almost destroyed my kidney. And it was the medication, it was not anything else, that almost destroyed my kidney. 2, my liver enzymes had gone up. That's a side effect of one of the other medications she put me on. So I said to her, I am going back on the keto diet, and this is what I'm going to tell you. I am stopping one of the insulins, and I am going to cut back the other one according to my blood sugars on a daily basis. She said to me, I cannot approve that. I said, I know, but I don't care. Your care is killing me. What you insist that I am doing is killing me. And I'm not going to have any more of it. So if you want to drop me as a patient, let me know now. I'll go find another physician. In fact, I know the physician I would go to because he is a big advocate of keto diet. Problem is, he's a surgeon. But I started back on the keto diet. She finally agreed. I told her she needed to look into this book. She needed to look into Dr. Jason Fung. He has quite a few videos. He is a kidney specialist. In his book, The Obesity Factor, he points out how using a keto diet, you can almost cure almost every kidney issue. It also cures a lot of heart issues that come along. It's very good for you. So, what I started with was Dr. Westman's diet, which is basically meat, certain vegetables. You have 1 cup of green, non-starchy vegetables per day. You can have 2 cups of salad per day. Fat is actually very good for you. It helps you to actually burn fat because you're no longer taking the carbohydrates that come in and those being turned into sugar. You're taking fat in, and because you're no longer taking high carbohydrates in, it has to burn the fat, the brown fat in your body. That is my brief explanation of keto. I will link the white coat video below. The Dr. Westman and Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, they have now turned that list into something that you pay for. You used to be able to get it free. But if you listen to the video, he reads off the entire list of the items you can have. Now what I follow is 20 carbs a day. 20 total carbs, not net carbs. Net carbs is where you take your total carbs. If you have 6 fibers, let's say you have 12 total carbs. You have 6 grams of fiber, you deduct that from that 12. So now you have 6 grams of carbs. If it has sugar alcohols, you can deduct those grams as well. I don't do that. That gets into all this craziness, and that kind of stuff drives me crazy. I want it to be as simple as possible. So I follow 20 carbs a day. Now on the weekends, Saturday night, we go to the Mexican restaurant. I can almost always ask them to redo part of the recipe, to not include the tortilla, to not include beans, those kind of things, in order to keep within that limit. But on that Saturday, I allow myself an extra 10 carbs if I want to. And normally, with that, I usually consider that part of the, we always get guacamole dip. And I know what they put in their guacamole because the owner of the restaurant and I have talked about it quite often. So I know it's pretty clean keto. Not that big a deal. In place of the tortilla chips, I bring pork rinds. Just plain old pork rinds to dip into the salsa, to dip into the guacamole dip. I don't miss the corn chips at all. Many times when I give fajitas, that's very easy to get, is a fajita, or to get one of the grilled steaks or whatever, grilled chicken without all the stuff. You can get all that. They don't mind doing it. Most of the time, they're not going to give you grief about it. And generally, like where we go, they occasionally will say, well, that's going to be 50 cents extra. It's worth 50 cents extra for me to get it the way I need it for my nutritional needs. So I don't mind that. So, she just laughs at me because as she's talked to me before, she said, you're doing exactly what I do to stay where I'm at. Okay? So, I'm going to provide that link below. I'll provide Go Keto with Casey's link down below as well. And a few other websites. I do follow a couple of things. Now, yes, I do some treats like pumpkin. I like the pumpkin muffins. And I generally do Christy Sullivan's recipe for the pumpkin muffins. There are a lot of videos out there that will give you all kinds of information about doing keto, doing different keto messages, those kind of things. I had looked to get another book besides the Obesity Code. There is one by Gary Taubes about, I can't remember if the name is Good Calories In, Good Calories Out. But there is also this book, which is by Jimmy Moore with Dr. Westman for Keto Clarity. And I'll tell you, Jimmy Moore started this without this. And he's got a ton of recipes, ton of cookbooks, as well as Christy Sullivan that has a lot of books, recipes. It is a doable diet, and it is actually very good for you. I do follow also Dr. Ken Berry. Now, Dr. Ken Berry is more of a carnivore. He follows more of a carnivore diet. And what I think is funny is I've always loved meat. I've always been pushed as a kid to eat the potatoes, to eat, all the other stuff. And I've never really liked those. I eat them because, as my mother said, the potatoes saved the Irish. So it's got to be good for you. Well, that was a very different potato than the potatoes we eat. However, I can understand her reasoning behind that, you know? But it's a very doable diet. It is, for some, it is very difficult. The one thing that I had the hardest thing with is the sweets. Because you have to find a sugar substitute that works for you but doesn't affect your blood sugars. I'm one of the lucky ones. Sucralose does not bother my blood sugars, neither does stevia. However, monk fruit shoots it sky high. So there are a lot of alternatives. My husband and I enjoy spaghetti, lasagna, you name it. What we've learned to do is to use zucchini spirals or to use zucchini. We did try the hearts of palm zucchini noodles. They weren't not zucchini. Hearts of palm, which are artichoke noodles for lasagna one time. It wasn't too bad. You know, we thought it was okay at first, and like my husband said, it's kind of like zucchini, but more expensive. I said, yeah, I know. Let's just try it. He goes, the real proof is going to be in the reheating. And it was still just as good when we reheated it. So that is what I'm going to tell you about my journey with keto. I am going to continue this journey, and occasionally I will update you in what's going on. But yes, it's okay to have treats every now and then. But still, even with those treats, I make sure I am at 20 carbs or under per day. They tell you that you don't normally need to do exercise with that. That's what I've chose to do at the very beginning because I've gained so much weight since I had lost all that previously. So, yes, I am not thrilled that I'm having to step back into something that I enjoyed. And you know what? When you start eating a keto diet, you're going to realize that you enjoy that. But there's also one more thing you're going to find. It's very difficult to find pork chops with fat on them. And that's always been one of my favorite treats, is pork chop, just pan fried, with that extra little thickness of, the fat around the edges. The diet industry totally has changed the way that we look at meats. They've wanted leaner cuts, leaner whatever. So we are finding that we need to go to actual butchers to ask for the things that we want, which quite honestly has led in some cheaper prices. I was surprised at that. So my husband follows it just like I do. Of course, I'm the main cook. I also include extra things for him. When we have hamburgers, he will have the hamburger bun. I make him frozen French fries. He likes frozen French fries. I just go for the hamburger with all the, fixings and whatever on a plate and eat it like that, and I'm good to go. So you'll find that your hunger decreases as well with the keto diet. So that's it for that. I'm going to close this out. Everybody, remember to choose kindness. And if you're interested, look in the links below. They'll be under the What Incarnation links. All right. Bye, guys.